Hello and welcome to today's briefing. I'm Dana, and joining me is Matt. We're covering the latest news across various categories. Let's start with the politics section. Iran has denounced recent U.S. strikes as a sign of bad faith and unreliability amid ongoing negotiations to end the war. The U.S. military characterized the strikes as a necessary action.
What were the specific details of the U.S. strikes that Iran is reacting to?
The reporting indicates that the U.S. military conducted the strikes in southern Iran, but the exact targets and rationale behind them haven't been fully disclosed.
How does this development affect the ongoing negotiations?
The Iranian statement suggests that the strikes have complicated the negotiation process, implying that the U.S. actions undermine trust.
Are there any indications of how the U.S. has responded to Iran's condemnation?
Not yet, but it's likely that the U.S. will provide some form of justification for the strikes in the coming days.
Let's move on to another political story.
The Supreme Court has refused to intervene in a discrimination lawsuit led by former Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores against the NFL, allowing the case to proceed to trial.
What are the main allegations in Flores' lawsuit?
Flores alleges that the NFL engaged in discriminatory practices during the hiring process for head coaches, citing instances where less qualified white candidates were preferred over him.
How significant is this decision by the Supreme Court?
By not intervening, the Supreme Court is allowing the case to move forward, which could have significant implications for how the NFL handles discrimination allegations in the future.
What's the NFL's stance on this matter?
The NFL had sought to have the case handled through its arbitration process rather than going to trial, but the Supreme Court's decision means the case will now proceed in court. An Israeli airstrike on a village in eastern Lebanon has resulted in 12 fatalities, according to Lebanon's state-run national news agency. The strike comes as Israel calls up more troops to Lebanon.
What is the context behind this Israeli airstrike?
The strike appears to be part of an escalation in the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Have there been any official reactions from Lebanon or the international community?
Lebanon's government has condemned the strike, and there are likely to be further diplomatic responses from other countries.
Let's shift to the U.S. politics scene.
Texans are voting in a Republican primary runoff for the U.S. Senate between Cornyn and Paxton, with President Trump having endorsed Paxton.
How crucial is this runoff for Trump's influence within the GOP?
This runoff is seen as a test of Trump's power within the party, as his endorsement of Paxton could significantly impact the outcome.
What are the implications if Paxton wins?
A Paxton victory would be seen as a boost for Trump's agenda and influence within the Republican Party. The Congressional Black Caucus is urging major corporations to oppose Republican-led redistricting efforts that aim to eliminate majority Black U.S. House districts.
What specific actions are the corporations being asked to take?
They're being asked to publicly oppose the redistricting plans and potentially take legal action against them.
How might this affect the upcoming elections?
If successful, this opposition could potentially shift the balance in favor of Democratic candidates in those districts. Shifting to the economy, Micron Technology has reached a $1 trillion market valuation driven by the demand for memory chips in the AI sector.
What factors contributed to Micron's rapid growth?
The company's shares surged after UBS raised its price target, reflecting increased investor confidence in Micron's role in the AI boom.
How significant is Micron joining the $1 trillion club?
It indicates the growing importance of the AI sector and the companies supporting it, like Micron.
Let's discuss another economic story.
CNG prices in Delhi have been increased by Rs2 per kilogram, marking the fourth hike in less than 2 weeks, bringing the total to Rs 83.09 per kilogram.
What are the reasons behind these frequent price hikes?
The reporting suggests that global energy prices and supply chain issues are contributing to the increases.
How are commuters and auto drivers being affected?
Commuters are finding it increasingly expensive to travel, and auto drivers are facing financial strain due to the higher fuel costs. Honeywell's Quantinuum is targeting a valuation of up to $12.7 billion in its U.S. initial public offering, capitalizing on interest in quantum computing.
What is Quantinuum's business focus?
Quantinuum is involved in quantum computing, an emerging technology with potential applications across various industries.
How does this IPO valuation compare to previous funding rounds?
Quantinuum raised funds at a $10 billion valuation in its last funding round in September, so the IPO target represents a significant increase. Analysts are revising their expectations for Champion Homes ahead of its Q4 earnings release, with expected earnings per share of 62 cents.
What are the current market reactions to Champion Homes prospects?
The stock rose 2.1% to $71 per share, indicating positive market sentiment ahead of the earnings report.
Let's move on to another economic story.
The EU is planning to impose a significant fine on Google over antitrust issues, according to Handelsblatt.
What are the specific antitrust allegations against Google?
The EU is investigating Google for allegedly favoring its own services in search results, violating antitrust regulations.
What could be the potential impact on Google?
A hefty fine would be a significant penalty, and Google may need to adjust its business practices to comply with EU regulations. Now, let's shift to sports news. Manny Fernandez, a star defensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins during their undefeated 1972 season, has passed away at 79.
What were some of Fernandez's notable achievements with the Dolphins?
He was known for his 17 tackles in the Super Bowl that season and was a key player in the Dolphins' defensive line.
How is Fernandez being remembered by the Dolphins?
The team announced his death and is likely to hold tributes or remembrances in his honor. Lionel Messi has been diagnosed with muscle fatigue in his left hamstring, raising concerns about his fitness for the World Cup.
How serious is the injury, and what are the implications for Argentina?
The diagnosis indicates an overload associated with muscle fatigue, and the timeline for his return depends on his clinical progress.
What are the potential consequences for Argentina if Messi is not fully fit?
Messi's participation is crucial for Argentina's World Cup hopes, so any injury concerns are significant. Jacob Misiorowski of the Milwaukee Brewers set a record by throwing 57 pitches of at least 100 miles per hour in a single game.
What makes Misiorowski's achievement notable?
It's the most pitches thrown at that velocity in a game since pitch tracking began in 2008.
How has Misiorowski's performance been received by the Brewers and fans?
The reporting highlights his achievement as a significant milestone, reflecting his exceptional pitching ability. Moving to entertainment news. Sonny Rollins, a legendary tenor saxophonist known for his bold tone and constant experimentation, has died at 95.
What were some of Rollins' most significant contributions to jazz?
He was known for compositions like St. Thomas and Olio, and his improvisational genius reshaped modern jazz.
How is Rollins being remembered in the jazz community?
His passing is being marked as a significant loss, with tributes likely to follow from fellow musicians and jazz enthusiasts. Peppa Pig is airing on Nick Jr., with various episodes scheduled throughout the day.
What are some of the episodes being shown?
Episodes include Decorating, where Peppa and George choose how to decorate their new bedrooms.
Let's discuss another entertainment story.
Zoya Akhtar and Rima Kogdi's production house, Tiger Baby, reportedly had 66 hard disks stolen containing unreleased content worth 13 lakh.
What are the details of the theft in the investigation?
The police have arrested 2 individuals and are searching for the remaining drives, with speculation that it might be an internal job.
How might this theft impact Zoya Akhtar and Rima Kogdi's work?
The loss of unreleased content could potentially cost them crores if the data is leaked online. Veteran actor Ramakant Dayama has passed away at 69 after a prolonged illness.
What were some of Dayama's notable roles?
He was known for his performances in films like Chalk Day India and Scam 1992, the Harshad Mehta story.
How is Dayama being remembered by his peers and fans?
Actress Shubhangi Latkar confirmed his demise and shared a heartfelt tribute, remembering him as warm-hearted and courageous. Tipping Point, a quiz hosted by Ben Shepherd, is airing on ITV Quiz.
What can viewers expect from the show?
It's a quiz where contestants aim to accumulate points by answering questions correctly within a certain time limit.
Let's move to other news.
BBC News is covering the latest national and international stories, airing at various times on BBC News and BBC News HD.
What are some of the key stories being covered?
The reporting includes major news events and updates presented by anchors like Lucy Hawkins. A 70-year-old skydiver died after colliding with another jumper during a group jump in eastern Washington state.
What were the circumstances surrounding the incident?
The collision occurred during a scheduled jump, and the second skydiver sustained injuries requiring medical treatment.
Are there any investigations into the incident?
Authorities are likely to investigate the circumstances leading to the mid-air collision. 2 men have been arrested in connection with the investigation into Desi Freeman's case.
What are the details of the arrests?
A 48-year-old and a 35-year-old were arrested at separate locations in Northeast Victoria as part of Task Force Summit.
What are the next steps in the investigation?
The individuals will be interviewed by police, and further actions will depend on the evidence gathered. ITV London Weather is providing updates on the weather forecast.
What can viewers expect from the weather updates?
The updates will include the latest forecast and any significant weather alerts for the London area. The death toll from a partially collapsed overpass in Seoul has risen to 3, with 3 others injured.
What were the circumstances of the overpass collapse?
The overpass was under demolition work, and the collapse occurred during this process.
Are there any investigations into the cause of the collapse?
Officials are likely to investigate the demolition process and structural integrity leading to the collapse.
As we've covered a wide range of stories today, that's all the time we have